Now, many of the students that took the final exam had difficulty in this because they hadn't practiced it. So again, I'll give you the rules to do these. They're not that difficult, and hopefully you get all these points on your test. Okay, so we're going to take a look at dividing now, polynomials in our last topic. Now, we're going to deal with, and these aren't too difficult, they're dividing a polynomial by a monomial, polynomial by a monomial, polynomial, monomial. Now, there is a technique for this. And in your booklets, let's go over this. Now, basically, it's to take each term in the numerator and put it over the common denominator. So here it's 1, so I'm going to just write this again for this one. So think of this as one term, and the same thing here. And then here I need 3. There's 1. I'm going to put it over here. Now, this is something we did way back earlier, where we're going to now simplify each one of these. So 5 goes into 10 twice. X to the second, x to the sixth, just move it up. Subtract it, x to the fourth. And now what will our sign be of this one? Negative. 5 goes into 48 times. X to the second, x to the third, leaves us with an x. So it's pretty simple so long as you know the technique. Each term in the numerator goes over the term in the denominator and just simplify it. So here this is a negative, so this will be a negative 3. And then the 8 to the 7ths cancel out. And this is going to be a plus. Now 2 will go into 10 5 times. But again, you want your exponents to be positive. So what will happen here? Well, I'm going to bring the 5 down, and this will become a to the second in the denominator. So that's the key. Some of the students were taking this and putting it up in the numerator. Doesn't belong there. And again, doing it this way, each of the terms in the numerator over your common denominator, and then just simplify. So this is going to be a positive 7, x to the second. This is going to be a negative 3, x. And then now notice the x to the 5s are going to cancel out, and this just gives you a plus 3. So each one is worth, on your final exam, like 5 points. So you want to be sure you get the best answer there. Now, in this next one, what we're doing is we are dividing a trinomial by a binomial, and here a polynomial by a binomial. So this technique, and they're actually telling you what to do here, do it by what they call long division. Now, what is long division? Well, let me give you a little sample of it just to show you how it used to be in arithmetic. Suppose we wanted to divide, I'm going to make it very easy here, 3 into 30, let me see, I don't want a 30 there, 29, let's say. Now, we go 3 goes into 2, doesn't go. So you then go 3 goes into 29. How many times? So if it was 9 times, yeah, I think it's 9 times. You put a 9 up there. So 3 times 9 is 27. Now, what do we do to that? Well, we subtract it. And here is a positive 27, but to indicate that we're going to subtract, we had to change this sign, and now we add, and we get 2. And that 2 is our remainder, 2 over our divisor out there, which is 3. So the answer, 3 goes into 29, 9 2/3 time. So we're going to follow that same procedure here. We're going to say x plus 5 divided into x squared plus 9x plus 20. I'm setting it up. I'm dividing this into that. This is how it's set up. Now, you want to see x will go into this how many times? Well, a technique for figuring that out is to take this x squared, divide it by x, simply like that, and that's going to be x. So this is what we put here, x. So now we're going to go x times x is x squared. 5 times x is 5x. Now, when I put this line here, what did I do? This was positive. To subtract that, I had to change the signs, and now I'm going to add. So this subtracts out. That's what we wanted over here. This subtracts out. That's going to be a 0. This is going to be a 4x. And I bring down my 20. Now, how many times does x go into there? Remember, the technique is 4x divided by x over here, and that's just going to be 4. So we put a plus 4 there. Now we go x times 4 is 4x. 5 times 4 is 20. Now what do? We put our line, and in so doing, we change the signs. And we just add them up, and it's 0. So this times this over here would actually give you that. If you were to FOIL these two, you would get that. Now, if you need to go back and do it again, the key is you want to be able to do it. So we have m plus 5 divided into 6m to the third plus 26m squared minus 17m plus 15. Now, another thing you should know is that as you set up this, it should be in descending powers, and there shouldn't be any degrees missing. If there were, you might have to put in what they call a space filler, 0m to the second, let's say, if the m to the seconds were missing, because this is a sequential process and you need a place to put things. So again, we have 6m cubed, this is our first term here, divided by m. Well, that's going to be 6m squared. That's what I do, just take one of the m's away. So now m times this gives me 6m cubed. This times this gives me a plus 30m squared. 5 times this gives me that. Again, you're getting like term columns. What do we do here now? Well, we need to change our signs and add. So this cancels out. Now here we're going to get a negative 4m squared. We bring down our negative 17m. And again, we have a negative 4m squared divided by m gives us a negative 4m. So that's what we put here, negative 4m. So m times a negative 4m, a negative 4m squared. 5 times that is a negative 20m. Now what do? We put our line, but change our signs now. This cancels out, and we're left with a 3m plus 15 that we brought down. Now, again, 3m divided by m is going to be a 3, so a plus 3. M times 3 is 3m. 5 times 3 is 15. Now, what do? We change our signs, and everything cancels out. So if I were to take this and multiply it by this, I would get that. And that's a check that you'd want to do on your final exam if you have time, because you want to be sure you have it right to get all the points you can. Okay, we're now going to do letter C. We'll set it up. It's a negative 5x minus 2 divided into, is this correct? Yes, negative 20x to the third plus 17x squared plus 15x plus 13. Now again, negative 20x to the third divided by a negative 5x. Well, this is going to give us a 4x squared. So that's what we put right there, 4x squared. Because this term times this term will give us this term. Now, this term times this gives me a negative 8x squared. Now, what do? Well, we put a line there and we change the signs. So this cancels out, and this becomes a positive 25x squared. Bring down this term, and then we can go over here if we need to. 25x squared divided by a negative 5x gives us a negative 5x. So a negative 5x times a negative 5x gives us a positive 25x squared. A negative 2 times a negative 5x gives me a positive 10x. I put my line, but change my signs. This will cancel out. Here I get 5x plus 13. And again, 5x divided by a negative 5x gives me a negative 1. So I need a negative 1 here. Now, negative 5x times a negative 1 gives me a positive 5x. A negative 2 times a negative 1 gives me a positive 2. what do? I put a line there and change my signs. And this cancels out, and this becomes an 11. So I now have a remainder of 11 over our original negative 5x minus 2. Now, if you were to multiply this times this, get an answer, and then add 11 to it, you should get this. And you put this in the math lab, they don't use the letter R. You can just put plus 11 over that. There's probably a number of ways to do it. So, give it your best shot. And, if they don't accept it, but it looks correct, I will give you full credit. Let's pause for a moment. Yep, that is correct. I checked it out. Notice how they have it written too in the answer column there. Okay, we're now going to do this one. And it's m plus 4. This one here. M plus 4 divided into 4m cubed plus 14m squared minus 5m plus 12. Now again, basically we're taking this m and dividing it into here, and we're getting 4m squared. So m times 4m squared is 4m cubed. This is going to be plus 16m squared. Put a line and what? Change the signs. This is 0. This is going to be a negative 2m squared. Bring this down. And again, we're going to divide m into that, so that's going to be a negative 2m. M times a negative 2m is a negative 2m squared. 4 times this is a negative 8m. So what do? We change the signs and add. So this will cancel out. And here we get a plus 3m plus 12. Well, m goes into 3m 3 times. So this gives us 3m plus 12. And we change the signs. And on this one, there's no remainder. So this is letter D. Okay? All right, let's go on. Now, for letter E, this is a little tricky. So we're going to set it up as x minus 3. And we have here x to the 4th, which is okay. And by the way, all right, well, let's just try this out here. There is no x to the third term. So I'm going to put in a space holder. 0 x to the third, 0 x to the second. Ooh, a lot of missing terms here. 0 x, and then our plus 81. So we had said if we're going to do this type of division, we have to have places to put things under that are like terms. But notice, as soon as we put a 0 as one of the factors, this has no value. These have no values. They're just space holders. So this goes x to the third here. X to the third times this gives us x to the fourth. And then 3 times this gives us a negative 3x to the third. Notice, otherwise I wouldn't have a place to put this. So we put our line, change our signs, and this becomes then 3x cubed plus 0x squared. Now x will go into there plus 3x squared times. So x times this is 3x squared. 3 times this is plus 9x squared. Oh, how about a negative? Excuse me. Got carried away there a little bit. A negative. That's better. Because now when I change the signs, this will become a negative and this now becomes a positive. So I know I'm going to end up with a 9x squared here. Bring down my 0x. Now here, this is going to be a plus 9x. So x times this is 9x squared. This times this is a negative 27x. Going to put my line and change signs. This cancels out and I get a positive 27x plus 81. Now, x will go into there 27 times. So I get x times 27 is plus 27x. 3 times 27 is 81, a negative 81. And lo and behold, what happens here? I change signs, and everything cancels out, and there is my answer. Now, what did I go wrong here somewhere? I don't have anything left, do I? No, let me check it. Well, I looked it over, and I didn't get any remainders, so I'm not sure where they're getting this over here, but we'll leave that for another time. Okay, our last one. And again, we're looking for strategy here. Well, we have a negative 5x plus 2. This is okay. But what do we need to do here? Well, here we need to put it in descending order of our powers. So here, this is going to be a negative 25 x to the third. Then we're going to have a negative 15 x squared. Then we have a negative 5x and a plus 9. So 3, 2, 1, 0. And our signs are correct. And now let's go. So let's change colors here. Negative 5 goes into there, negative 5x squared. So this times this gives us a, nope, that's not a negative, it's a positive here. Sorry about that. Trying to rush this a little bit. Okay, so negative 5 times 5 is a negative 25x to the third. 2 times this is plus 10x squared. Okay. What do we do now? We change our signs. So this becomes now a negative 25x squared. We bring down our negative 5x. So this is going to be another negative, oh no, positive here, 5x. All right. Negative 5x, positive 5x, negative 25x squared. 2 times 5 is 10. So this will be a positive 10x. This is the negative 25x squared. Okay, we change our signs. This becomes a 15x. Bring down our plus 9. Now this is going to be a negative 3. Negative 5 times a negative 3 is a positive 15x. Positive 2 times a negative 3 is a negative 6. And I'm going to check this out carefully. Okay, I was forgetting my negative sign here. So this goes into negative 5, goes into there a positive 3 times. So negative 5 times a positive 3 is a negative 15x. Ah, that's good now. So 2 times 3 is 6, positive. Put our line, and now we're going to change signs. This was a positive, now it's going to become a negative here. Let's get that right here. It was a positive, now it becomes a negative. Okay. Lots of little sign changes here. You need to be careful. So this cancels out, and this ends up a positive 3. Okay, so there's our basic answer, and there is our remainder. And this is the way to write it. Okay, again, it takes time. You're going to write clearly, neatly, watching the signs here. And good luck on your Chapter 4-5 test, and then later your final.